Nope, there we go. I had my mic off for a moment. Need to find a way to cross dissolve that back in. But anyways, a little impromptu live this evening. I want to test out a few things. And there's no art block tonight, not a formal one anyways. I had wanted to, Enrique, of course, is not available this week. He's usually on every third Wednesday. I usually still like to have an art block every week when I can, but unfortunately, we have had an awful weather situation going on here. For the last 3 days, we have had probably on record, one of the worst heat waves all of a sudden just kind of come blasting through southern Ontario. At least it felt like it anyways. I think it was on record for this time period anyways. It was 42, which I think equals to about 107 Fahrenheit. It was awful. So I couldn't do anything the last 3 days. It's now nighttime. It's like about 1 a.m. in the morning. And the air is now cool enough that I feel more comfortable doing this. So, hi, Adam. How you doing? It's me. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention I got my hair cut. Yeah, thanks. Funny thing about this, I actually didn't pay for it. Believe it or not. Getting a haircut has gotten ridiculously expensive. So I went on Kijiji, which is sort of the Canadian Craigslist, and to see if there was any students in the area offering something at a bit of a discount rate. Lo and behold, I did find somebody who was offering haircuts for free, actually, because she was in the middle of being trained. And it took about an hour to get it done, but it didn't cost me anything. So, yeah, I got it. So it's a little bit, because it's so humid, it looks probably a bit gross right now, and it's I just washed it like this morning too, but it is what it is. It was free. I'm not going to complain, and once our weather's better, it'll look a little bit better once I can clean it properly. Anyways, Adam, you're about to crash out, eh? Watching while I'm still technically awake. Okay. Anyways, it was nice chatting with you a little earlier today. I don't know if I'll end up keeping this stream up, but I actually, while you are awake, why don't I do this? I'm going to show this on stream. I got the camera set up, the one that was going to give me a little bit of trouble. I got it set up over my desk, and that's not it. Let's hide that. I want to show this one, but I need a better setup here. Oh, good Lord. That's the one thing I don't really kind of like about this, is that unless you really kind of set this up ahead of time, it's hard to... that's kind of not what I wanted. I wanted this the other way around. How can I... how do I switch this? I didn't think it was going to do this. I thought I'd be able to switch this around. I do want to show you something. As you can see, this is the I guess I'll go with this for now. A couple of things I actually discovered you might be interested in is this little thing here. This is the Rock and Rule comic book that actually came out just a few months, I believe, before the actual film was released. And what's interesting about this, and I'll show you, is that they kind of approach this in a little bit of a lazy way, but not really, and I'll show you what I mean. Can you hear me still okay? I've moved further away from the mic. They used scenes from the movie. These are all clips directly from the film, but they've cropped them and arranged them so that it looks like a comic. So here they've eliminated the background. Obviously, speech bubbles have gone in. They've cropped them to fit squares. They've overlapped some of like they'll crop an image and then overlap it. but I think it actually looks really, really good. So even though they didn't have an artist, they didn't hire an artist to redraw all the scenes, uh, whatever graphic team put this together did a really fantastic job of actually arranging all this as they would a comic book. Considering this is 1983, I believe, and I mean, I guess why not? If you're making out a comic book and you're just taking it from an animated film, why redraw it? I guess there is that. I hope you can still hear me okay. I'm going to move my mic over 1 second. Hopefully I don't toss my phone out. I've actually got 3 viewers. How about that? I didn't think at 1 a.m. I'd end up with this many viewers. I know there's a bit of a glare on here. I apologize. But look at this, the way they've actually arranged all this. This is really smart. This is really, really well done. I haven't had a good chance to have a look at this yet, but. And a little bit of information on the back on some of the production of the actual animated film. The music. Deborah Harry did the music, of course. Model of one of the vehicles that they use as a reference. So I'm kind of going backwards here with it. Yeah, making of rock and roll. So yeah, and of course the movie poster is the cover. Audio sounds fine. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, I was a little worried about that because I had the microphone way over to the side. Something else I wanted to show you, actually, just for fun. I've forgotten I had this for years and years. Most people know that I'm kind of a big, nutty Godzilla fan. I've been one since I was like 6 years old. And years ago, when I started going to the conventions in Chicago, I came across this. Years ago, they started producing these little novel-sized versions of some of the movies, particularly the early movies. This is Mothra Against Godzilla, which is a Japanese title. North America, for the longest time, was known as Godzilla versus the Thing. And as you can see, this is in the reverse direction of most books because it is printed out of Japan. But again, it is scenes of the movie. Actually, sorry, that is the cover. In the wrong way. This is the back. This is the front. Mothra Against Godzilla. And as you can see, they've taken scenes of the movie and they've just arranged them in a comic book style. Manga style, I guess I should say. Again, they did a pretty nice job of it. I wouldn't say it's to the effect that the Rock and Roll comic had, because all of these are just the cropped movie scenes. They haven't kind of done any kind of fancy graphics and laying them out. But I don't know. I forget what I paid this. I think it was equal to about $15-$20 US. And I still really like it. I sort of got it as reference because this was always one of my favorite movies. I like the design work and the effects in this particular movie. And I know there's a few more that were done. I should actually look up some point which... Oh, look at this, little inserts. I used to get these little inserts and I kept them. I have no idea what any of this is. I'm not even sure what the year of the print was on this, because it's all in Japanese. I was hoping maybe one day to find more of these, and they were very, very difficult to get. And I know there are more in existence, but I don't know if it's really worth looking for them now, since I kind of sold my entire collection. I'm going to see if I can switch my camera view back. I really wish I could rearrange this somehow. See, I can do this. I can do a split screen, but that's not exactly what I wanted to do. And I wanted this the other way around. I don't know if there's a way to do that. Oh, there we go. That's kind of what I wanted to do. But, yeah, so if you can turn this. Eventually, I like this camera because you're looking at me in profile, but I'd like to actually be able to put it up over here. The next time I'll have that better prepared. But who's all here tonight? I see Adam. Apparently I've got 3 people. Well, one of them might be me because I did actually put on my phone. So one of them is me, and I know I have a second viewer. So anyways, this I know I can kind of set this up. I have these tombos. I still need to make some use out of. And I have like an entire huge kit of these things. And I did a demo of this last time when I did a live, when I actually did a proper art live. And these markers I would like to start using more. They're a little bit different. They're not... Tombow has 2 different kinds of markers. They first started putting out these dual tip water-based markers for quite a while. And then they started putting out alcohol markers, because alcohol markers are the big thing, because they apparently they blend better directly on the paper. Water-based, they are not alcoholic markers. They blend very, very differently. You have to either pre-blend them or you have to use water on the page with them in order to get them to blend. But people have bought these expecting these to react and color an image like an alcohol-based marker, and they do not. These do not respond the same way. If you're used to using alcohol markers, don't buy these without the expectation of don't buy these with the expectation of them to respond like an alcohol-based marker. I would say go online. If you really want to test them out, buy 1 or 2. Go online, go look at some YouTube videos. I'm hoping to make a few myself on how to paint with these. A lot of people like using these more for crafts. You see people do a lot of things like lettering with them because you can do some really fancy stuff with lettering. But I kind of actually like painting with them. In the last video that I did, I painted a little image of a little fish underwater, and I did it in watercolor using traditional watercolor paint, and then I could go in with these and add a little bit of detail. As you can see, one end, as you can see, it's getting blurry. Let's move these out of the way here for a second. There we go. One end is a brush, and the other end is what they call the fine tip, which is not that fine. It's like if you get a Copic marker and they say one end's the fine tip. It's not that fine. So there's a bit of thickness to it. But if you just need to make a simple straight line without a thick or thin. The interesting thing is that they are only brush tips. There are no chisel tips in Tombow's line at all. They do put out a set of fine liners. They do put out alcohol markers that are basically the same thing as this, just I think they're colored white, and they're called Art Pro markers, I think. Those are their alcohol-based markers. These are the water-based, which are the black ones. And I have, it's a gigantic set. I have, this holds 90, and I've probably got, this looks really dusty, good heavens. And I've probably got a good, 45 markers. 60, so probably about 45 markers I've got in there. I've got about half them. 3 of these are blenders. These ones are blank water blenders that are the same idea, but they've probably dried up by now. because I haven't hardly had a chance to use anything yet. So now, talking about who have we got in here? We got a couple. Oh, Big Bad Mama, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm talking about art stuff again this week. Being that it's an art channel, I guess I should. I wanted to talk a little bit more about these, and I want to talk a bit about alcohol markers. This would be a good chance to maybe go over that. I might maybe move my camera over. I mean, I have to go shaky cam for a minute if you guys don't mind. But it would help probably move the other camera over, or maybe I might just not put it up. I don't know. I should have thought of this beforehand, but I do want to kind of go over some alcohol-based markers, and I think as good a time as any since I'm kind of testing this out. And it's Frankson, yeah, Frankson. Oh, you can see me in a different account. She's kept disappearing. Hey, how you doing? I'll let me get my it's right here. I wish I could just kind of click this in place. I am gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna just close this off for just a moment. I'm gonna go shaky cam. All right, so I kind of wish you could resize these, and yeah, All right. Is everyone still with me? So this is a water-based, and most people are familiar with Copics, right? We all know Copic, and because this here is a Copic, right? This is a Copic Chow. I pick up the Chows because those are the absolute cheapest, and they're the smaller sets. And since they are refillable, I figure why not go with the smaller set because they are cheaper for an alcohol-based marker, but they're still quite expensive. I'm going to grab a look. Here's some paper on it. This is not the best paper for alcohol-based markers, but I'm gonna use it anyways. This is tonight just kind of an impromptu. I kind of didn't expect to go on tonight, and I probably maybe should have rethought this sooner. But I don't know if I'll even keep this one up. I might actually redo this whole demonstration later on. Okay, so Copics are the rage. Yes and no. Let me grab just a couple of. I'm just looking for the scrap paper that I've got. And I'll tell you some sort of advancements on the Copic front and its competitors. Copic has a serious competitor coming up, and of course the paper that I need is gone. That's frustrating. I'm going to turn the fan off because you probably can hear it. That's very frustrating. All right, I'll do something else. Do you know when you put something down and you know that was the last place you put it? And it should absolutely be there, and then it's not. That's really frustrating. That's what's happening right now. I have these strips of test paper that I always keep handy, and I use them all the time. And they have completely vanished. So, but yeah, oh my God, I can't lift anything with my left arm. Ohuhu. Yeah, so what happened is Ohuhu kind of stepped up their game, and they wanted to be a competitor with Copic because they are just as bright, just as vibrant, they blend just as well. They just recently started making them refillable, which was kind of their downside, but they were cheap, right? But you hate to kind of throw it out because it is kind of an environmental thing when you have plastic like this. You kind of hate just to throw them out. Somebody had these marked for some reason. I bought these secondhand. This one's not very good. So I may end up. These ones I'm going to sell, and I'll explain why. I might eventually get a better. For one thing, I have way too many alcohol markers that I haven't even had a chance to use yet. So I'd like to really use them before they all completely dry out on me. Yeah, Ohu is one of them for sure. There's a couple that I do recommend. I don't have everything here. Copics still corner the market just because they carry the name, right? They're Copic. Everybody knows Copic. And probably of all the markers, they have the best numbering system. When you need to find certain colors to put together, to maybe blend to make another color, etc., they have the best system for tracking your colors and your markers. And they're all labeled a specific way so that you can mix and match and blend your colors to create the effect that you want. And they have whole entire tutorials. They have entire forums and or books and things online that you can go through. So that's where their strength still is, because they've spent so long developing that. But Ohuhu is catching up. They've improved the quality of the markers. I think they did something. They changed the they changed something about the ingredients a little bit, but they haven't changed their prices. Their price point is so much cheaper. Like, it's huge difference. Like, I think when you buy a set of 90 or something like that, they end up being like 88 cents a marker. If you want to buy an individual marker, they're like less than $2. So the only reason we're going to sell these is because these are a chisel tip. It's only chisel and a fine tip. And I'm not big on the chisel tip. I can't kind of create the effect that I want with chisel tips. So I'm probably not gonna keep my Ohuhu set. I only pay like $30 for it, and I know a lot of them, and it was secondhand. And I will probably boy, these two almost blend together, don't they? So I will probably end up selling my Ohuhu set. Even though I do like them, I do appreciate them. They're very vibrant. They do blend very well, and so I kind of I hate to, but I have so many other markers. I'm gonna show you in just a minute. But for your bang for your buck, Ohuhu, another really good one to go with if you're looking for a competitor to Copic is Dick Blix. They are out of Chicago. They are a huge art supply company, Blix Supply. And if you look up Blix, if you go to Blix site and you look up alcohol markers, they have a huge line of alcohol markers. I think it's the white ones that you want that are the brush tips. They do have like chisel tips and brush tips, and yeah, they're about almost half the price of a Copic Chow, especially when you start buying the bigger sets. They end up being a whole lot cheaper. I don't have them myself. My roommate has them. He bought like a big set, I think about 90. So I should have thought of it earlier. I could have maybe grabbed one to borrow one just to show a little demo here. But yeah, so that's when I picked up the Ohuhu at the same time, they had this on. You are reading that right. JHF Art. I kid you not. But their markers are actually really good. I have to look into these more. Like I said, I bought these on sale. They're a bit thicker markers. You can see they're larger. The tips, they come in a brush. These go down so nice. These deserve some love. And a chisel tip. That's a really nice color. I think these ones are starting to fade a little bit as well. But the brush tip is really nice. There's something about the feel of this brush tip, like you're just painting with it almost. It feels really nice. Something that's a little bit different about this one than with the Copic or with the Ohuhu. I really like the brush tip on this. All right, these are the Ohuhu. I don't have any brush tips. So what am I saying? So yeah. That is JHF Art. That is their name. What else we got down here? I wish I had Prismacolor markers. I think I might have a couple somewhere. They were really good, but they stopped producing their alcohol-based markers, and I don't know why. But I'm rather disappointed. But I do have this, which is some Prismacolors that I bought for, I think, secondhand for $20, and Prismacolors are very nice. Their blendability is incredible, probably better than just about any other marker. It goes down really nice. Their downside is that they don't have the huge selection the others have. Their numbering system is not as efficient, but they are a really, really nice marker. Unfortunately, these are all just base chisel tip. So again, I might sell these ones off because I would prefer. Their chisel tip is a little unusual. It's hard to see on here. I used to buy these for doing caricatures because you can still get kind of a, if you know what you're doing with it, you can kind of get a thick and thin line with it, because there is, it's round. I don't know if you can see with this. It's, can I bring this into focus? It's round, angled on the sides, but flat this way on the top, and it comes to a point. So you can get a kind of a fine tip point with a little bit of that ribbiting going on a little bit, but not as much. So it's a really interesting, because you can get like wide like this. Apparently there's a way you can get three different kinds of marks. There's a hair sticking out of it. Oh, this is it this way. This one, I forget the other way how it works. But anyways, you're supposed to be able to get different kinds of strokes with this marker. It does give off, it does give off more fumes. But yeah, that's, I may end up selling this one as well. Really, how many have I got on this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 12 times 5. About 60 markers. Got one more I want to show here. And I still have, look at that. See this? Oh. Logitech, you are disappointing me. You are disappointing me so much. Everyone said, if you're going to get a Logitech, get the C920 for the one over your desk. And I got the C920. That's this one. You are disappointing me, C920. You are disappointing me. And I'm seeing if I can try and bring this back into focus, and it will not. Sometimes if you just start doing something. Another one I picked up, I can't find the name of these, of Tricolor. You can't get these anymore. I don't think you can actually get these anymore. They're a little bit, I haven't opened these in a while. There's different tips. There's a brush tip, 2 different brush tips, 3 different brush tips. But there's 3 different shades in here. So let me see. This is, are you guys seeing this glitch out? By the way, every once in a while I'm seeing this glitch. And I don't know if it's the camera or if it's the camera or if it's Talk Studio. And I'm trying to get this to come back into focus. Sometimes once I get it to focus at a certain level, I start lowering it. Aha, there we go. So let me show you here. Along the bottom. It's still out of focus, you stupid thing. So nice dark blue. What's this one? Well, it's a teal. This is an aquamarine. And this one just says lake blue, which isn't too different from the teal. Well, it really saturates it. It's really juicy. There's a lot coming off of that. Brush on this one has a nice feel to it as well. It's a bigger pen. If you don't mind a bigger pen, it has a nice weight to it, because I know there's like 3 different inks in it, obviously, but it's got a nice weight to it. I'll probably keep these ones because they didn't come in any kind of pack. They just came in this bag like this when I got it from Value Village. So, but it's really, I kind of like it. Even though I know they're not refillable. Once they're dead, they're dead. but I need to find, I need to start maybe doing something and make some use out of these, because I think these are actually really a lot of fun. I like these ones. So now the way these are going down, I just have some cheap paper. What makes a huge difference in using alcohol markers is your paper. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not an expert on alcohol markers. There are people who are far more talented with these things than I am. I've seen some fantastic works that are beautifully blended and shaded. And then I've seen other people do some amazing work with them where they didn't go the route of blending with them. They put them down in straight colors, but in how they used it, created really, really amazing pieces of art, especially if you... I'm drawing a blank tonight on words. This always happens when I go on live. If you're like a designer, like what do you call it, where you work in clothing design and you fashion design, and you want to kind of get down the way fabric moves and just to kind of get the colors down. You're not worried about the shading or the transitioning. That using these is really, really an effective way of doing that. I want to get one other set. I want to get one more set of markers here. Excuse me again for 1 second. I'm going to walk over here to my magic supply shelf and talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to be right back because I picked up something at the dollar store. Well, how could I forget these two? Crayola. I don't even know if these are going to be any good. So, alcohol markers, you can get them expensive, you can get them cheap. We'll come to the Crayolas in just a minute. These ones, I don't think you can get these anymore. I bought a whole bunch of these. I'm not even sure if these are even still any good anymore. We're going to find out in just a minute, but I have packs of these. They're alcohol-based. As I can show you here, they go down very nice. They act strangely for a set like this was what, $3.50 for a pack of 6. If you were to, that's a year and a half ago or more, maybe actually more than that. It's more like 2 to 3 years ago. They'd be more than that now if they still made them, but I've never seen these again since. Chisel tip, though, no brush tip. But look how nice they go down. And as I overlap like this with it, you get a nice kind of smooth blotch of color, and I can go over that. So it's only a chisel or a fine point, but look actually how juicy that is. It really bleeds through. That's just the one color. Really sharp. The only thing is, if you're a person who uses alcohol markers, if you go to use them to try and blend with them, they don't blend that great. In some cases, I was trying to use it and it was just lifting off the paper. They put out a couple of sets, like they put out these ones, and then they started putting out another pack. And I think I've thrown out the box. They started putting out packs of 3, but they were a bit different. Someone's dinging me. Here we go. It's another one called Artist Series, and they're a little bit different from these ones, you can see by the tip. This is a larger tip. I don't know why they numbered them the way they did. They got like 72. It's not like there's 72 colors. There isn't. There's like maybe 12. But you can get packs of like blue and packs of green, etc. Again, just chisel tip. Oh, these are starting to go. Look at that. They're cheap. They don't last very long, right? That's too bad. Let's get the other one down here. One of them I tried to put down, and it was literally like dragging the color up. Oh, this one's a little bit better. I should start using these. That'll blend that in a little bit more. Actually, that looks really nice. That blue is very nice. You could, when you're coloring with these, you kind of have to go in the same direction. If you start flipping directions, they unless you actually go back over and blend it, try to really blend it in, you still get kind of the crossing effect, right? You won't get they don't just blend through like watercolor. You still have to kind of keep a certain direction with it, and you kind of have to push the ink in a way. I'm sorry if I keep looking over here because my monitor is set up over here, and I know the camera's right over here. This being said, let's flip this over. Ignore that. Ignore this. I want to open up the Crayola for a minute. So let's put this back. I'm going to have to clean up a mess here later. If you're enjoying this, please give me a thumbs up. That's what Josh always does. If you like the stream, maybe you'll want to give me a thumbs up. Just like Siskel and Ebert. All right. For those of you that remember who Siskel and Ebert is. Ding me. Somebody is messaging me. Okay, it's a friend from London. Okay, never mind. Strange time to catch me, but anyways. Crayola, no, they designed these for kids. These are the original. These aren't the washable. These are great for caricatures. I'm going to show you why. First of all, again, these are, I don't know what you call these, are pigmented, but they're not water-based. I think the washable ones are water-based. These ones are not. This is any good anymore. I love these for doing caricatures, and you'll see a lot of caricature artists use these. Hey there, Jim. How you doing? Yes, I am on late. Long story. You'd have to see the beginning of the show to find out why. The short story is it's been too damn hot and too damn humid, and I had to leave my apartment because I have no air conditioning. So I had to get out, and then I took a nap for too long. So now I'm wide awake on 5 cups of tea. So here I am doing this now at like 3 a.m. I don't care anymore. I'm so frustrated. Anyways, Crayola. These are amazing for doing caricatures. If you go to a park, look for some caricature artists. Don't be surprised if you see a bunch of them using Crayola. There's a reason for this. And I'll give you a little bit of a story. One of the reasons is this amazing tip. See this? It's called a conical tip. Starts fat, comes together wide, narrow. It's not chisel. It's not a brush tip. It's called a conical tip. That tip, you can make really, really, really nice point lines. If you go soft enough and you don't put too much pressure on it, you can get some nice lines with it. And as soon as you angle it, you can go from thick to thin and get a lovely flowing line from thick to thin with this. So if you're doing, if you're doing caricatures, doing like an eye, you can see, I can kind of make, I can taper this off very nicely. So a lot of there's very, very, very few markers, if any, that have a conical tip. I'm going to show you a little something here. It means I have to get up out of my chair again. I keep doing this, but okay. I bought these. I got these when I used to do caricatures. This is back from the year 2000. Marquette Dixon made these Marquette markers that were absolutely amazing for doing caricatures. They had a conical tip. This one looks a little bit bent because I've used it so much. It's a little bit narrower, but you can still get the same kind of effect. And this one still actually has a bit of ink left in it. But you could go to nice thick and thin lines. And I know this is this is a little high up the camera. Maybe I should start zooming in a bit more. But you could get these nice thick and thin lines. Caricature artists loved these markers for years. Up until about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe a little more, they stopped producing them. Caricature artists flipped out and said, Dixon, what are you doing? You're losing an entire market. Then they reproduced them again. They started making them, but they rounded the tip. And they were absolutely useless. Again, artists started writing them like mad, going, what the hell are you doing? You've ruined these markers. I guess they were designed more for industrial use to like write on boxes. Didn't really think that caricature artists were buying these things up by the box load because they were incredible. Well, they've said that they're going back to making the points again, but I haven't seen them. I haven't been able to buy them. I even went online, and I think they make them in different colors, just not in black. I think green and red, but we're trying to push to get them to make this conical tip again in black because these were the bomb. And they, the only thing was if you get them wet, they did bleed a bit. Same thing with the Crayola. Interestingly, with the Crayola, these things, once you put them down, they're dry. Like you can, right? Like I know this is, oh, look at that. Once it's down, right? You can get a little on your hand, but it doesn't smear. The Crayolas, it's scary. Like you put these down, you don't want your hand to drag over that because look at that. I don't know if you can see this, but that's just, you have to give it a few moments. So if I'm drawing something, I have to make sure that my hand is not sliding over that for a few minutes because that will just absolutely smear. There it is there. You can see that just from my hand dragging through it, right? You can see the mark. So they're messy as all get, these things. So when you have to have like a cloth or something under your hand, you don't want to drag it through because you will smear that ink, which is kind of a shame. Crayolas, though, for coloring, if you know what you're doing with them, I know they're for kids, but if you know what you're doing with them, they're great for coloring in limited areas of just flat areas of color, because they are so vibrant, these things, because they're designed for kids, but they're so bright. Like look at here, I'll put it over here with these. Here's the alcohol markers. Now here's the Crayola. And I don't know if you can see this. Now the one thing is they don't blend the same way, obviously, even going over itself. And you can see it starts making the paper really, really rough. So you don't get a nice smooth blend, but if you kind of know what you're doing with them, you can create some really, really, really nice effects with these. Now here I'm just making some strokes the same direction. And I keep this kind of the same flow and the same pressure. Lost it a little bit at the end, but you can see you can get kind of a nice field of color. The idea is not to fill in an entire area, but if you can kind of highlight something around an area. I know some artists who are very good with these and know how to use them without coloring in the entire thing, but highlighting the edge of a leg or around the edge of the face to give it a little bit of a colored effect, a little bit of a glow, and it do it very effectively. I'm trying to think of the artist's name. I think he's got something called That Drawing Show, and it's Scott. I almost said Scott, not Scott Serquin. On YouTube and on Instagram, if you look for, I want to say it Scott Works. I think it's Scott Works. Give me 1 second. It's going to bug me the name now. It's That Drawing Show for sure. And he uses these incredibly effectively. Like just it's embarrassingly good what he does. see TDS, that drawing show. Scott Gross Works. scottgross.works. I recommend having a look at some of his stuff and look at some of his colored stuff that he uses with the. I know he still uses alcohol markers for some of it, but some of it he uses just the Crayolas, and he doesn't color in the whole thing. Oh, there's a really good one. I won't show this on here because it is his stuff. I should get his permission. I gotta talk with him again sometime soon. He's so good at this. Incredible caricature artist and cartoonist. No, sorry, Frank. No. This is a different fellow. Scott Gross Works. Look for that drawing show, TDS, that drawing show on Instagram, and I think on YouTube under the same name. I'm looking at his Instagram. Scott Works, so he's different. He's a caricature artist mostly. I'm going to have a quick look for his YouTube. I think his YouTube is under the same name. I just don't know if it's under Scott Works or that drawing show. TDS, that drawing show. That drawing show. Scott Works. Incredible artist, and he uses these quite a bit, and uses these incredibly effectively. Because you see people going, oh, he's using Crayola, he's using kids markers, and then what he does with them is just mind-blowing. So, yeah, I highly recommend checking him out. No, he's not a Cirque Works knockoff. The name's similar. His name's Scott Works, but not Scott Gross Works. Not Cirque Work. So he's definitely not a knockoff because his work is his style is completely different. Scott Gross Works does mostly caricatures, and if you go to his channel, it's mostly all just doing caricatures at parks. But he talks a little bit also as well as how he approaches doing caricatures and what he does. So his is very, very different. But yeah, so that's this. And then if you come back here to the watercolor, these I don't recommend. This is water-based. And as you can see as I go over this, it leaves a different effect. Very, very, and it buckles the paper. You can't see it here, but this, of course it goes out of focus. I got to figure out what to do with this. I don't know exactly how to change that, because I've seen people do this. Does this happen a lot? Does other people? Why did I watch something like it happens once in a while to Chris Runciman when he does his, but not this often. I don't know what he uses for that. Maybe I just need to get a better camera. I thought these webcams would work. I've seen people use webcams. They don't go out of focus that much. Does he wear a lab coat? No, he doesn't. Scott Gross does not wear a lab coat. Most of his stuff is outdoors. His stuff is all mostly, you see him at parks doing caricatures for the most part. But no, he doesn't. He definitely, I don't even know if he's even aware of, he's a pretty busy person. I don't even know if he's even aware of Scott Circlin. So I think it's just a fluke that they both have partially the same name, Scott and Works. But all right, what else do I got here? I think I covered about everything. I also wanted to look at some of the fine liners that I use as well. I have these guys, microns, because everybody has microns. Well, most people do, not everyone. I do like microns. They have, as you can tell, every one of these is a different size. One of them, can you guess which one is the brush marker? Oh, the one that says brush on it. That's the brush marker. Brush marker has a nice brush tip. It's a very small, slight wide one, and I'm not particularly fond of it because it has a split tip on it. So sometimes when I try to put it down, you can't see it because it's out of focus. God, does it happen to other people this often? This is so frustrating. Mr. Pen. I'm not familiar with Mr. Pen. Is that maybe too close? It shouldn't be. Maybe it's something in the settings. I might have to go into the settings. I apologize for this. This is not supposed to do this. Here I'm doing stuff when the camera's off, testing things out, and it always works. Then as soon as I turn the camera on, this, like, how am I supposed to deal with this? I don't know. I can't get it to go into focus anymore. Stupid thing. There, we'll see how long that lasts. But look, this is a 12. Sorry, that's a 1. But I like the microns, and I think they are technically apparently refillable, but it's hard to do that. Most people just end up buying another set because for the mess and the effort and time involved to try and refill these things is so much a pain in the ass that it's not worth going through that when you can just buy another set fairly inexpensively. When it comes to fine liners, one of my favorites, so as much as I like microns, and they last forever, I picked up these expecting the microns to die soon. But Faber-Castell, I had a set that lasted a long time, and when they died, I bought these. But now I want to go back to Faber-Castell. They're a German brand because I really like them. There's only a small, fine, medium, and bolder brush. So there's only the 4 sizes, but there's something about the way the ink goes down, the way they feel in the hand, and the way the ink goes down that I really like. And their brush pen is way better than the microns. I actually do prefer these, and I want to start drawing again. I want to draw again. But guess what I have to do the next 4 days in a row? I have to work. One day when I do draw again, before I die, I want to kind of get through these, use them up. I want to cry. And I want to start using these. But I feel like I don't want to open these and start using these until these are used up. So I'm going to try and get through these. And I want to quit my job. If this friggin' made money, I would quit my job in a heartbeat. Maybe I need to start offering more stuff on make up a Patreon account and something. I don't know. I've tried selling some prints and just not getting any response. I don't know. Maybe I should sell tea. This is pumpkin. I put in some pumpkin flavoring in the tea. All right. What time is it where everybody else is? It's only, creaky chair. Never noticed it until I actually kind of went live and realized this must sound super loud. One thing I actually kind of wanted to do was to test out what the ink is like over top of these markers. Because sometimes your alcohol marker will react differently depending on your marker to a micron ink. They make different pen-related products. I'm going to write that down. I want to write that down. I want to have a look into that. Mr. Pen. Mr. I'll write it down out of focus here, of course, because that's how we're doing it tonight. Out of focus. I'd love to do a 3D show where just everybody can, like Scott Circworks 3D glasses and get a 3D camera, and I'll do an entire stream in 3D. For those that remember, I'm drawing a blank. Never mind. It'll hit me later. SCTV. and they had the Count. He always talked about doing an episode in 3D that was never in 3D, but he was supposedly a horror host. I know that ran for a little while in the U.S. It's a Canadian-produced show, but I know it did run in the U.S. and had quite a fan following because that's where a lot of the big Canadian comedians came out of SCTV, such as like John Candy and Eugene Levy. Some really, really popular names came out of that. Yeah, Frank's heard of it, SCTV. So here's the 12. This is a 12 marker. It's kind of a nice, it's a fine line, but it's thick. These ones, when they talk about like fine liners on the ends of some of these, right? That's like the fine liner on, which one is it? Oh, here the right, the fine liner on this one is still actually thicker than the 12 on a micron, which is like the largest. So he was a little maple kid. It was a funny show. You had to. My folks actually didn't like it that much, and even I only found some of it funny and some of it kind of weird, but not terribly. It all depends. Some of them I found funnier than others, but it depends on what the skit was. They did the Count guy when he did one episode, and it was supposedly it was a spoof of Ingmar Bergman film that he showed, and it was called Whispers of the Werewolf, and I couldn't stop laughing watching this particular episode because you had to know Ingmar Bergman films. And when I used to go to film school, we actually watched a couple of his films, and they're kind of a little out there, but they're very artsy films. But whoever did that skit did their homework. They really kind of knew Ingmar Bergman films because they kind of hit the nail on the head with that one. And I was like, wow, somebody knows their stuff. It was so funny. I have it somewhere. I kept it. I think it's actually on YouTube somewhere. But oh, that was your dad said no American-born son of mine is going to watch a Canadian show. Why? What? We watch all your American programming. We watch British programming. I watch like stuff from all over the world. Why all of a sudden like was Canadian programming an issue? Here's a 005. This is a really fine. That's lovely. Look at that. Look at how fine that is. That's a fine line. That's really nice. So let's kind of test out the dollar store shit here. This is a really heavy blue. You don't even see the line over that. Apparently I have three people watching technically. One of them is me. If you look up close, there's a tiny bit of fuzziness going on there, but not much. Let's test out the tricolors. It's a dark one. That's a dark one. There we go. That one picks it up a bit more. If you're doing some blending and you go over a micron ink line, yeah, that's one's going to pick it up. Looks like the juicier the marker, the more it will actually pick up that line. Let's try the Prismacolors. I should have marked down what they were. That one goes over nice. Look at that. I should have put something behind this because that's going to blend right through. Okay, it's just on that sheet. That's good. That's really nice. Wow. Okay, so these go over the microns really well. I know it's hard to tell. Can I zoom in more? Am I going to screw this up big time? Am I going to ruin the focus? I know it kind of doesn't look like it, but it actually is not. This is smearing the line more than this is. This makes a tiny bit fuzzy, but this one's actually doing a really good job with it. Let's do the Crayola. That's a black. Okay, never mind. I don't want to go black on black. This is the fart marker. Let's just call it what it was. It smears it and fades it a little bit. Makes it a tad bit fuzzy, but it's not streaking it. My dad was Mexican. I don't think he would disapprove of Canadian shirts. Oh, all right. We had, what was it we had? We had some good. It was a Canadian show that had somebody from Mexico and or a Spanish character, and I can't remember now. Ohuhu. I'm going to sell these Ohuhus. If somebody wants a set of Ohuhu markers, let me know. I'm going to sell them. Mind you, the shipping is probably going to be ridiculous because Canada overcharges the shipping. That looks really good. That's not smearing it at all. It's dark. This one, okay, so when I use the fine tip, it's hard to tell. It's kind of lightening the marker line, but it's not. See, this one's very slowly making that fuzzier as it dries. And as for bleed, we're doing really well. It's not coming on this paper at all. You can see it through here, of course, but it's not coming through on the other paper. So it's doing really well here as far as this heavy paper, but this is not good for alcohol markers. If you're watching the stream and hiding because I'm here, I don't know. Nobody's saying anything, actually. We had Big Bad Mama on here who spoke up for a bit, and Adam went to bed. But, yeah, I don't know. There's 4 people watching. I actually ran into a couple of friends that I used to work with when I used to work at the Value Village. And one of them says he watches my stream occasionally, and he's never said anything. And wants to speak up, tell me you're here. And the other fellow, I gave him my link to this. So I don't know if, but mind you, it's really late. They probably wouldn't be up. Now, this is the cheap marker, but it's going over really well on that. That looks really good. We'll give that a few minutes. I like shipping would be outrageous. It probably would because it's a heavy case. Oh, I can't even lift it. I've messed up my left arm, by the way. I banged my elbow more than once, and I keep hitting my left elbow. I had to get an elbow pad because it's. I kept hitting it. I kept catching it for some reason, and I can't grab anything with this left arm now until it heals properly. So I got this. It's a big set. They're all Ohuhu, but I only paid $30 for this. Some of them might be starting to dry out. There's a few duplicates. 54, 55, 15, see 254s here. So there's some duplicates, 242s. Right, so there's some duplicates, and they're chisel tip. You know, if you're going to get some Ohuhus, I'm just going to sell these ones locally. If you're going to get some Ohuhus, get them online. Get a fresh set from the company or through Amazon or something like that. Get a fresh set. Get the ones that you want to. These are chisel tips. If you're not big on chisel tip and you're like me, you prefer the brush tips. Order yourself a brush tip, a brand new pack. You get a really good deal on them, and you know, you'll probably get the shipping included, etc. and so forth. So yeah, don't. That's a 42. Yeah, don't get it from me because the shipping's stupidly expensive. I don't know why Canada overcharges. That's really nice. Ooh, you can see too, here's the other issue. That cap does not look like that color. Apparently they've corrected this. This was about an issue for a long time, is that their cap colors were not matching the color of the that was coming off the ink marker. That's another area where Copic had that down pat. They're whenever you're looking at on the cap, that's the color that was going to go down. No ifs, ands, or buts. Look, I picked up a lighter color, and this is going down darker. Look at this. Look at this. Is supposed to be lighter. Good Lord. Going lighter again. It's a little better, but there's a nice set of grays in that here with this too. If you know what you're doing with the chisel tip, you might be fine with it. I find chisel tips are better if you're, like I said, if you're doing kind of fashion type work, they work really well for that. If that's what you're into, but this is trying to color with it is another story altogether. I have like 4 people watching apparently. Who are you mystery people? Did I put it back? I think I did put it back. So that's it. Oh, here's something else actually I can show you too. Unrelated markers. I'm going to put some of these away here. Give me 1 second. I like to kind of put stuff away because otherwise I feel like I'm getting over cluttered. I really like these JF art markers. The color really is nice, and their brush tip is really, really lovely, and they're thicker. They're a thicker marker. Like they've got a good grip on these, and I like that. And it's a chisel tip to one end, but the other end, it's triangular shaped. It's not round, so it have to make sure it's lined up with the snaps. So there's no fine tip. It's chisel or brush, which is fine. Fine tips are not that great anyways, most of these. Artist marker. I'm going to look into this company a little bit more. And on the end, it's not just numbered. It's numbered and there's a description of it. This is 175 lime green. And it's a good set. There's not a whole bunch in there. It says the set is 48, but there's not 48. It's missing most of them. But I'll keep these ones, so anyways. I will sell those ones because I have so many Copic. I have like what you can't see over there on the shelf. I have about another 4 more packs like this of different sets. And I would like to start using those. I'm going to put some of these away because I want to show you something with Prismacolor. I'm going to show you something that I love to use that is sold out, that is not produced anymore. Not just sold out, but is not even available any longer, much to my dismay. And wow. Oh, excuse me 1 second. These are falling out. My apologies. Somebody did not design this right. These are all falling out. There we go. All right. Much better. All right. Here's the back. Years ago, back in late 80s, early 90s, I picked up a set of these when I was in college, and I'm not sure why I picked up, but these are called Prismacolor Artist Sticks, and you can see these have gotten a lot of use, and some more than others. This one's barely been used. White's been used a lot because the white makes a great blender. This is basically the same as what was inside the pencil crayons. These are not chalk pastels. These are basically the same as the lead inside a pencil crayon, just made as a brick. But these were great for doing caricatures, especially if you wanted like a broad area of color. You could put this on its side and you could fill in a whole area. And being that these were put out by Prismacolors, the colors were bright and they blended. They actually went over and blended together. You could even get blenders for this. Prismacolor blenders. The sad thing is they discontinued them a few years ago. I managed to get a hold of a few sets of few individual pieces so that I could kind of keep using them for caricatures, because like I said, I've colored caricatures with these. They last forever. These will be around long after I'm gone. And so I bought a bunch more because, as I said, they discontinued them. I am so angry. Some of these, they still have the they're still plastic wrapped. But check this out. This is a blender, right? And it actually works really well to make sure there's no other color on that. They pick up colors. It's frustrating to get it off of there. But it'll push it into the page a bit more. And yeah, it's hard to see on this because I've got the camera too damn far away. But these were absolutely fantastic. I love these so much, and it's sad that they discontinued them because I would have bought more of these to make an entire set. They now sell them as pastels. They're soft. And while they're nice and they blend nice and they're bright and colorful, the fact is they're pastels and they're like chalk. So as soon as you brush it, like if this I can pick up and it's not coming up off my hand at all because it's like pencil crayon, it's waxy, right? It literally like sets onto the paper. The pastels, it's like chalk dust, right? You can't touch it once it's gone down unless you want to try and blend. You can blend them a little bit more. They're easier to blend as pastels. But and I have a whole series of chalk pastels already. But these were the bomb for coloring caricatures. Just fantastic. And it's sad that Prismacolor I used to really love and I used to respect. They put out a lot of products, and they lost me in the last few years. They discontinued 3 products, and stores stopped carrying them. They discontinued their alcohol markers. They discontinued their color sticks, and their pencil crayon line, the Pro Set, you can't get in any art stores anymore. They discontinued them. They they still make them, but I think you have to order them directly from Prismacolor, I think, or you have to get them off Amazon or something. You can only order them online. Even Michaels, I don't think, has the pro sets anymore. It really, I was really angry about that, and I lost all respect for Prismacolor for that. But let me show you what I got here. Stuff comes crashing. These are messy. Hold on. These are pastels. Move over. So these look the same. And my folks bought these for me because I do like pastels. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I think I started using pastels as an option to when I was used to do animal portraits. I used to love painting pet portraits, and but I was using acrylics a lot. I didn't like oils because oils were way too messy. But I started playing with pastels, and I loved how they went down. And on the paper, as you can see, that it looks similar to this. And we'll put a yellow in here. Actually, I can see, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can see on the camera, I can see the dust building up on the edges. Like here, this is what I'm talking about. It's already on my fingers. This is the wax, this is the art sticks, right? And then this. Look at that. It's just smearing into my, look at this, right into my finger. That's chalk pastel. That's the difference between these, the art sticks, and these, which is pastels. I think my parents bought these for me thinking that they were going to be more like this, and they were not. And that was really disappointing. I need to clean this off. Give me just 1 second, because, well, here, let me show you these. I have these. These are gorgeous. These are beautiful. I want to use these. But look at this. These were not a cheap set, and I think my folks got this for Christmas. I've used them quite a bit already, but not enough. But look, you can see the white's been used because the white makes a good blender, right? And the black is broken, unfortunately. But these, I almost don't want to use them too much because I don't want to waste them. You have the right paper for this, and look at that, and they blend just beautifully. Don't get me wrong; these are actually really nice too. These are not a cheap set either, but there's something about these that just the way they go down is. Oh, I gotta find an excuse to use these again. And I actually have oil pastels as well somewhere. I'm not sure if they're even still any good anymore, but they're a really nice set of oil pastels. And oh, yeah, they are. These are a little bit different. I don't think they're still good because, again, I think my folks bought these for me again years ago. This set, and I hardly use them because oils are so messy, and I feel bad that I never did end up using them that much. But I think they're still. Oh God, they're hard to get out. Whoops, I've used them a bit. Apparently, the brown's been used. It looks like. Right. Oh yeah, you can feel the difference in this. This is really waxy. And again, like you can. No, these don't. Like you can feel them on your hand. Oh, I need to get. Yeah, you can cancel. I don't think you can really blend it like that though. Guitar oil pastels. You really can. I need to practice with these ones. I don't know if you can really blend. Yeah, I guess you can. There's a few artists you see online where they do like really quick paintings of like a boat out on the lake, and they'll put like a huge area of orange, and another of like a dark blue, and then they'll blend them. It's these things that they're using, right? And then they'll put a ship out in the ocean, and they'll draw the water in the waves, and then within like 10 minutes, this is a beautiful image, and it's pastels like this, oil pastels. So if you kind of know what you're doing with them, because these do not lay down. Hold on a second, 1 second. I'm going to get a yellow out. Oh, I don't want to mix them up. They've already been mixed up, whatever. So they do kind of blend when you run over it. I don't want to use them too much because I want to. Apparently, if you use, what is it? I forget what it is. You can use Varsol or something, I think, over it if you brush on, and it'll actually blend them together, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather get some paper towel and do that. I might grab a sheet, a little piece, and test that out. I miss using practical stuff, like physical stuff like this. I've been so spoiled with using the computer, but boy, when you come down to using this stuff, as I shake everything, it's a whole different world when you come down to physical supplies. The one thing I think is that digital will, whether regard to using a tablet or you're messing around with something to do with AI, it will never replace. People will always use this just simply out of the fact doing something physical, the sheer enjoyment, the physical sensation of taking something and putting it on paper and then seeing that color and working it and doing something with it and being that creative with it. There's something really kind of, without sounding too corny and over the top, there's something kind of magical about that. And that's something you can never, you can't replicate that physical experience of doing something like that with work. I'm just going to grab this towel. Oh, this is the wax. Oh, look at that. That does blend nice. You're picking some of it up. You're seeing some of the lines in there. Pastel, unfortunately, when you run paper towel, you end up lifting up a huge amount of it. I was supposed to try and blend the yellow into the blue to make it green. This will not. This is just... This is the art sticks. That's pencil crayon, basically. I'm down to 3 people watching. All right, I guess I bored everybody enough with all this. It's still not even 3 o'clock yet. I thought it was going to be after 3 a.m., but it is not yet. So I have a little bit of time. So it's not even midnight yet on the West Coast. I should technically have 2 viewers because I have mine open here because I wanted to see in case. Actually, how do I open up the chats on that? There we go. So, any questions? I want to know who the viewers are here that I have on here. Does alcohol go over top? I know it can go over top of the art sticks. I don't know about the pastels, how that works. Or the oils. I don't even know work on the oils. Oil paints and alcohol. That actually seems to be lifting it. Ugh. It's hard to tell, but it looks like it's actually lifting the oil. So I don't think we'll do that. Sorry, I'm just checking the look at the chat. So this is four. I got 3 people watching now. Hi, how are you this evening? Whoever you are, my magical viewers. Again, if you if you're getting anything out of this, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I can't tell. Oh, I do have 4 likes. Isn't that nice? Okay. Apparently that does help. Apparently that does something for the algorithm. And that can, I don't know what it does for it, but it apparently helps. So that's why Josh is always asking people to like to like his video. So yeah, if you have any questions about any of this at all, please fire away. I put some of these back, but I've kind of wanted to go over some of this. There's another artist who I've been watching for years, kind of on and off. I think it's Bailey J, and the spelling is funny for her name, and I can't remember what it was. Some of you I know actually do follow her already. She did she did a video, a very long, extensive video on testing out about 6 different alcohol markers, and she went over each of them thoroughly and compared them. That video went incredibly viral on her channel. She got like, I don't know, it's got something like millions of views. And it's what caused her channel, I think, to actually, she was already doing very well, and then it just caused her channel to just skyrocket even more after that. And then she did a follow-up talking about the different kinds of paper they use for alcohol markers, and that took off. She was big into using alcohol markers. Really great artist. I started to, I think, just lose a little bit of interest when she started playing a lot of video games. If you have an art channel and then you decide to change and start doing video games, you'll lose you can lose your audience very quickly. That was the brown one. Okay. So I had kind of stopped watching, but she's gone, and she was in the process of moving, and then she was a lot to do with her studio. She was showing setting up her new studio. She has a fantastic art studio. Good heavens. It's like a crafter's place. She is the most amazing setup for that. So, but she was also friends with Jazza. And they've met a few times at conventions, which is funny because Bailey J is Canadian. She's from the West Coast, and Jazza is Australian. But I guess at conventions they've crossed paths, and they did some things together. I think when they both were writing a book about the same time, and I think they gave each other their book or something like that. I don't know, a long time ago. I would write a book, but it would just be the same thing I'd be rehashing, and everybody else is putting their book. I don't know. I need to come up with something interesting for that. But I don't know, I'm kind of enjoying doing this live, and I have people watching, so I sort of hate to just kind of shut it down. And it's not even 3 o'clock yet, and I'm like wide awake on like my 4th cup of tea. Although this is decaf actually. But I added some pumpkin spice flavoring because, yes, I went there. Yeah, if the last comment was put in there by Frank, and I know I have some viewers still watching here tonight. I'm keeping my voice down a little bit because my roommate's in the room next to me, but I've got the microphone like right here. You can actually see the top of it. So I have my little snowball blue here. I think everybody can still hear me pretty good. But I think I may end up calling it here for the night. I don't know how long I've actually been recording for. Only an hour and a half. I thought it felt like longer than that. I thought I'd been going for a good while, but I think that's about all I could kind of really cover tonight. I went over all the markers that I got. I think that's pretty much most of them. I was going to show the difference between the sketch marker and the chow, but I think most people who have Copics know the difference between a sketch and a chow. I like the chows. I like this. The sketch feels nicer in the hand, but there's something about the chows that are, well, they're cheaper. Let's put it that way. They don't cost as much, and they're refillable. So I figured why pay for a bigger marker other than the fact that it'll last you a little longer as far as the amount of ink that's in it, and but they're both refillable. So and the refills cost the same amount, pretty much. So I still like. Does anybody? I'd be curious to know if anybody uses the airbrush system for the Copics. That always kind of fascinated me. I remember they came out with that years ago before I even started collecting Copic markers, and they were pricey, and it was kind of out of my price range. And the whole concept was something they weren't something I used. I wasn't used to using markers, and I didn't even really understand the difference of what alcohol markers were, what made them so different. And this is like years ago. This is like almost 20 years ago. I think they came out with their airbrush unit. And then I think I got to try one a little bit. And I've been debating whether or not to pick one up. Yeah, I was considering. I know I've tried one at some point. But they're designed to fit the original. I don't even know if does Copic still make the original ones. They were like bricks. They didn't have a brush tip on them though, but they were square in shape, and you can hear the rain coming. They were just like a block, and the sketch marker had the oval shape and held better in your hand, didn't feel as awkward, and the chows were just small. The airbrush systems would only fit the sketch or the original. They apparently didn't fit the chows, but you could kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You could make it work. The sketch and the original would snap in a certain way. These didn't quite fit in, but you had to put like a piece of cardboard or something in there to fill up the space because it was narrower. If you could get something else in there and wedge it in, you could make it work. Because the principle was that it would go off the chisel tip, and it would shoot the air off the end of the tip of the marker, and then it would just spray the ink down onto the page. And you had to you kind of had to know what you were doing a little bit. It wasn't like using traditional airbrush. Like I've used like traditional airbrush with airbrush paint, and it's a pretty fantastic experience. It's a whole different experience using airbrush markers. It's awkward because you're not touching anything to the surface. You're holding it above it. You're trying to draw and color something, holding it above the surface. It's a very weird sensation. It took me a while to get used to it. But you could create all kinds of fantastic effects. You can get nice, smooth gradients with it because of how you use the airbrush, and you got this even feel of spray. Where Copics was not quite the same. It wasn't quite as refined as using airbrush. You would get little bits of splatter and little spots on it. It was not quite as smooth, but some people could still do really fantastic stuff. You had to mask off areas though, and learn how to use it properly. I don't know, I'd almost consider it. The only thing that deters me away from it is the air system. You either have to have a air compressor, which are super expensive and they are super loud. And if you can get the quiet ones, you pay 3 times as much. They're already expensive. The other route is to get the cans of air, but it means you have to keep buying those all the time, and they don't really last that long. You pay this money for a can of air to use this thing. And apparently if you don't use them up that fast, like you only have so much time to use them, because once you actually start using it, they will very, very slowly lose some of the air. So if you're not using it, if you set it on your shelf for a year and you don't touch it, you're not going to have anything left in that thing. So if you buy one, you kind of have to use it. I'm going to move this a little bit. If you buy one, you kind of have to use it. Otherwise, it'll slowly start losing all its air. But if you use it, you kind of got to know what you're doing. It's definitely a learning curve with that. So I don't know. Part of me wants to just to play around with it, but I don't want to do it unless if I'm gonna spend that money. I guess the airbrush guns are not that expensive, because you can get them on their own or with some canisters of air. And again, that's an expense, right? You start working on something and you realize you're running out of air, and then you got to go get another can of air. And if you've got something half finished, you need to finish what you're doing. That would be really frustrating. So you have to have some cans of air on hand. But once you use them, they're done, right? You're out. That's it. They don't refill. Where a compressor would be nice. You spend hundreds of dollars on an air compressor, but you have endless air coming through, right? So 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I think I'm down to like 2 years. I think at this point, I've kind of said all I'd kind of was going to say and did all what I was going to do. It was nice to actually do something physical here. I wanted to test it on this through this system, because I'm doing this through Talk Studio, which is pretty much the same as StreamYard. This is not OBS or Streamlabs OBS. This is Talk Studio. And the problem was this camera. It's already giving me enough issues with focusing, but I've had to actually turn it the other way because it comes from behind the desk over top of the work. And the camera is coming from this direction, but it would, on Talk Studio, it had it the other way around. You'd be seeing everything upside down. And on Talk Studio, you can't turn the image. I actually had to take the camera and turn the camera around to make this work. You can flip it, you can mirror the image, but that doesn't do me any good. I need it to be this direction, and the only way is to turn the camera. And I've sent it as a suggestion to the Talk Studio team, yeah. Sorry, I drew a blank of what I was saying. I think I'm getting a bit tired. But anyways, yeah, this was actually a lot of fun. Now that I know I can turn this and I can actually do it this way, I don't know if I'm going to keep using Talk Studio. I got an extra month on it. I flipped the bill. It's expensive for me in Canada. Like what is it, 17 US, I think, a month? So then there's the Canadian price plus tax. So you're looking at almost 25 a month. That's really worth it. As much as I really, really like doing this, and I love using the system, I don't know if it's entirely worth it. But I think with that, I think I'm gonna grab my mouse and I think I'm gonna call it for the night. But thanks everyone though for joining in. Thanks Frank for chatting, and I don't know who the other people are that came in, but thank you for. Because I've got two more people. One of them might still be Frank. I don't know. But again, thanks for sitting in and for listening in, and for those that participated, thanks. Sorry, Big Bad Mom, I didn't get a chance to chat as much as I wanted to. I kind of wanted to get through what I was doing. It's funny, it doesn't keep the chats, unfortunately, I don't think. I'm trying to go back through to see if he said anything else. It's throwing me off because they all show a little YouTube sign, and I lose track of who's who. And Jim popped in for a minute. Oh, Jim was here and asked what kind of tea, and Jim's probably gone. I'm sorry. This was just a black. It was Tetley tea. And I usually put almond milk in it and a sweetener or a flavoring. In this case, that I've done is what I usually do. But yeah, black tea with almond milk and a sweetener of some kind. Jim ever comes back to watch this, I'm sorry that I missed your question. I missed everybody we were talking about. Anyways, I feel bad now. I'll next time I see him, I'll have to remember to tell him I'll just random in the chat. Hey Jim, this is how I take my tea. So, all right, everyone. For those remaining, thanks again for watching, and have a good night. And I'm hoping I get to do this again soon. I like doing these, and I don't get to do them that often. And the weather was so bad the last 3 days that it threw me off. I have to go back to work. Anyways, enough. We'll talk to you all again very, very soon. Have a good night. And yeah.